Beloved Saints, today's 5-minute message of redemptive history is about the 7 high priests appointed by Herod the Great in the genealogy of the high priests from the 6th book of the Redemptive History series, the Eternal High Priest of the Covenantal Oath. Judea had 28 high priests from the time of Herod until AD 70, when the Roman general Titus seized Jerusalem. The record of the 28 high priests include Ananel and Joazar, who were reappointed to second terms, but counted only once. Hence, Judea actually had 30 generations of high priests during this period. During this period, high priests were not actual descendants of Aaron. They were appointed by people in power with a political purpose. Thus, no sign of purity and godliness as religious leaders were found in them. Herod the Great appointed 7 high priests during his 34-year reign from 37 to 4 BC. The first high priest he appointed was Ananel from Babylon. A descendant from the Hasmonean family was available to serve as high priest after the death of Antigonus. Nevertheless, Herod the Great decreased the influence of the Hasmonean family, since they had thus far held great power in ruling concurrently as king and high priest. He wanted to place the high priest under his command, and appointed his close friend Ananel from Babylon. The second high priest Herod appointed was Aristobulus III. He was the last descendant of the Hasmonean royal family. Alexandra, Aristobulus III's mother, used her close relationship with Cleopatra VII from the Ptolemaic dynasty to compel Herod to depose Ananel from the high priesthood and appoint her son Aristobulus III in his place. Aristobulus III became high priest at the young age of 17, but he died about 1 year later at the age of 18 when Herod sent his servant to drown Aristobulus III while he was swimming in a pond near the palace of the Hasmonean dynasty. Afterwards, Herod reappointed Ananel as high priest. Then, in order to gain the Jews' political support in Egypt, Herod appointed Jesus, the son of Phabi, as the 4th high priest during his reign. 6 years later, Herod the Great was mesmerized by the beauty of Mariamne II, the daughter of Simon the priest from Jerusalem, and he appointed Simon as high priest in order to marry her. In such a way, Herod the Great appointed and deposed the high priest as he pleased for his own self-interest. Later, Mariamne II connived against Herod to kill him. As a result, Herod divorced her and deposed her father Simon the high priest. Next, Herod appointed Matthias, son of Theophilus from Jerusalem, as the 6th high priest during his reign. He was appointed in 5 BC. Matthias is presumed to have been the high priest during the time of Jesus' birth. Herod the Great and all Jerusalem were thrown into tumult after they heard the news of Jesus' birth from the wise men. Herod gathered all the chief priests, including Matthias, and scribes of the people, and inquired of them where the Christ would be born. They answered, "In Bethlehem of Judea, in accordance with the prophecy in Micah 5 verse 2. In early 4 BC, Herod the Great deposed Matthias and appointed Joazar, his brother-in-law, and Herod died just before the Passover that year. Beloved Saints, the high priests appointed by Herod the Great had nothing to do with God's will. They were used for Herod's political and personal benefit. That is why when Jesus Christ, the eternal high priest, came to this earth, he did not recognize him and ended his life in corruption. I pray that we will fulfill our duties as spiritual priests through faith and recognize Jesus, the eternal high priest. Let us live a life of faith, exalting only Jesus. I bless in the name of the Lord.